And at first it was quite terrifying, considering that we loaded into a world where there were strange mythical beings surrounding me. There was at first some kind of creature that looked and seemed like a dinosaur, and I didn't know if he was going to attack me, and at the same second I also saw some weird anthropod creature walking around on its two hind legs while darting behind the trees. Truly a terrifying experience. At first I wasn't sure exactly where I was going to find the BLOOP secret base, but I did know that if I was going to find a secret base, I would have to look around and be very specific on where I looked and what I looked for. So of course I knew that already in this world there were strange beings, which meant that the BLOOP isn't going to be that difficult to find. So of course I decided on the natural adventurer's route, which is just to, of course, just jump around and hop around and see if you can find anything strange and interesting. To my luck, we didn't take long to find anything strange. You see, as I was strutting around and walking and I was about to run into a ravine, I noticed that across from that ravine there was some kind of secret entrance. It seemed like a vault door of some kind. I was quite scared at first because of course on the left there were these big creatures and on the right, but I realized quickly that these creatures weren't going to hurt me. So of course I just quickly managed to do a run and jump and then jump over the chasm, not before placing a block to make sure I made that jump. So after I made the jump, I just wanted to make sure that these creatures were what they said they were, complete friendlies. In fact, they were quite scared of me. They seemed to turn away every time I came near them, which was quite weird at first. But nonetheless, I didn't really mind because that wasn't why we were here. We were here to investigate the creature that people have been talking about, the BLOOP. So of course we looked firstly at the signs and it said down here there are unforeseen animals of the aquatic kind, and the aquatic meaning water with reference to the word aqua. And of course it said one creature in particular is quite dangerous. He swims in the deepest parts of the ocean. I wasn't sure what they were referring to, and then I remembered we were looking for the BLOOP, and this was the first clue that we needed. So of course when I opened up this thing, he said, "Hey, are you looking for the BLOOP? He's down there for sure. There are lots of other mobs too, and you need to be careful." So of course I was actually quite scared. I mean, in my inventory I had absolutely nothing. My armor, there was nothing there too. But we were potentially looking for one of the most dangerous and most secretive mobs in the entire Minecraft generation. But nonetheless, I persisted because of course it's something that I wanted to see. Now, on first look, the secret base was quite shady looking, terrible looking. It didn't look particularly good in any sort of circumstance or look. It just looked quite terrible. There was dirt on the right, stone on the left, and it didn't seem that greatly made, except when I came down to the later bit, which it looked like there was quite a decent amount of iron and a nice vault. So as I came down the stairs, I opened up the vault, and to my surprise, it was pretty interesting. It seemed that I'd entered some kind of strange aquarium. This was by far one of the most interesting things I've ever seen. And to the left of me, I looked, and there it was. It was seemingly a picture of what seemed to be the only ever recorded image of the BLOOP. Now, of course, this isn't an official image, but it definitely depicts on exactly what the BLOOP would look like based on the sounds we heard. And of course, there was a chest and what seemed to be some kind of spawn eggs from many of the creatures that existed within this aquarium. It was quite strange. But of course, I was interested in only one creature, and that one creature was the BLOOP. Of course, if you don't know, the BLOOP has a gigantic mouth with razor-sharp teeth on the bottom, but its most dignifying and signifying feature is the hollow, huge mouth in which it makes its crazy sounds from, and the sheer size and mass of this creature that people are astounded to see. Now, of course, when looking around, I wanted to see what creatures were inside this secret base, and of course, there were some crazy ones. I don't know what aquatic creature this was. In fact, the sign also said an unidentified creature had been here, which led me to believe that this was some sort of alien government secret base, storing creatures that they didn't really know. As you could see, the creature had 3 long legs in which it used to move around on the ocean floor, and 2 prodded hands on which it used to grasp food. There was of course a ladder which I could use to go up to see perhaps the face of this creature, which was even more interesting as it boasted a very blue, marine blue look and 2 peculiar eyes which protruded from its head. It was truly an astonishing creature, and it definitely made me notice that there are definitely some strange creatures in this world. Maybe some are hidden, maybe some are strange, some are definitely alien looking, and this was by far one of the biggest creatures I've ever seen in Minecraft. But it just goes to show that the BLOOP was much bigger than this one too. On the next looking, I saw that there was another unidentified creature, and it looks like this one was a lot more humanoid. It seemed to have a strange face, looked strangely like one of us, and I mean the sense that it looks like a human and not really a Minecrafter. It was strange, and of course I was looking for the bloop, but these other creatures definitely had some lifelike qualities to them. This one looked like some kind of eel, although it didn't really move that much. The back of its head was the thing that was doing all the propulsion, but it seems that these creatures were most certainly from another planet. The one that was a human didn't really seem to swim, but rather walk across the ocean's bottom floor, and as I walked to the top, I wanted to see more because the vision was quite poor, and I noticed that there was some kind of fountain from the back, suggesting that these creatures needed a fresh flow of water. I looked around and I realized that there was in fact a chest here, and this chest contained night vision goggles, and if you're not sure why these are in aquatic areas, it's best to understand that night vision goggles actually allow you to see underwater. So as I pressed N, I noticed that everything became more bright and I was able to see these creatures in much more detail. Definitely very interesting. As I made my way to the third, what seemed to be aquarium place, there was a sign that contained the information that we were all looking for. It said the bloop, an underwater sound that was heard, a sound that shocked a generation of men and women. The bloop creature hasn't been seen since 1997. The last remains of him were in this tank. We are looking to find him. Maybe you can spot him. So it seemed that there was also one villager on guard who was also attempting to see if there was a bloop. And it didn't really seem to be looking like a bloop, more kind of like a stingray sort of creature. But I wasn't going to give up yet. I mean, the bloop was a gigantic creature, and I think somewhere in the secret facility, they were housing him and potentially hiding him from all of us. Of course, I asked the villager what was going on. He said, "Have you seen the bloop?" And he's in there somewhere, and I'm guessing maybe there's an extended version of the tank because this was by far not big enough to contain such a creature. So of course I continued looking on, and this was the identified creature number 4. This one was the most interesting. It looks like a wild shrimp, some kind of strange alien looking creature, and I was thinking that maybe some of these creatures can give me a clue to the bloop, but I wasn't going to get my hopes up just yet because this creature was larger than me, as big as it seemed, and it seemed like a deep water creature. But what was strange about it is that it didn't reside on the ocean floor. It stayed above the top, meaning that I'm guessing it needed a fresh source of oxygen to sustain its life. And it was definitely quite scary because a lot of these aquatic creatures aren't actually friendly. In fact, most of them are quite dangerous and will destroy you if they are nearby. And the last creature I did manage to come across was something terrifying. This was a creature that is one of the bloop's closest relatives from what I read on the signs. It was stated that this creature was the brother of the bloop and much more aggressive and much more fast. As you can see, the scarlet rower had a row of razor sharp teeth and a lightning quick skin texture that made it look fearsome in any single endeavor. That's a tank that you'd never want to explore. Although its eyes were quite dark, it had incredible vision, and it was a fearsome foe that was also related to the bloop. As you can see, the razor sharp teeth was simply striking from both creatures. Nonetheless, I opened up another chest. I realized that there were also buckets of water here from when water had leaked out, and I realized that it said in case of emergency there is full-on armor there. I wanted to quickly test my theory on how dangerous these creatures were. So before I left this secret facility, I decided that I was going to open up one of these canisters. Now, the one that I chose wasn't exactly the best, but I wanted to see just how dangerous these creatures could become. So I opened it up at the top, and I quickly tried to see how quickly they came. And came quickly, they did. They in fact sprinted over and darted over to me as quick as possible and tried their hardest to kill me. And this was truly terrifying because in the water you move quite slowly, but these creatures moved at 1,000 miles per hour, meaning that the bloop's closest relative was definitely nearby, and that was something I wasn't going to try again. So if you ever see the bloop or you know of his close relative, let me know exactly what's going on, because all of these creatures were definitely aggressive, and by the looks of things it seemed as if these creatures were somehow docile. Maybe they were been poisoned, maybe they've been injected to be much more friendly, but so far every creature that I went near tried to kill me fairly quickly. So it's safe to say this was a dangerous